Hey, friends, can we have an uncomfortable conversation? I don't think becoming a chaplain is just about having a calling. I think it's also about having privilege. Now, before you click away, I know how y'all like to tussle. Hear me out. I'm not talking about whether someone worked hard. I know plenty of chaplains who sacrificed a lot to get to where they are. What I'm talking about is the financial privilege required to even enter this profession. For years, I thought the biggest barrier to becoming a chaplain was going to be education. You need a master's degree, preferably an MDiv. You need CPE, right? That's 1,200 hours. No, 1,600 hours. You need supervised clinical hours, 2,000 of them. You need endorsement. You need board certification. That's already a long road. But after going through CPE, I realized education isn't the biggest obstacle. I can't talk, y'all. Money is. I remember during one of my units of CPE, I had an educator who constantly challenged us to pursue excellence as a chaplain. She was like, you need to read more. You need to study harder. You need to know your theory. You need to become more clinically sophisticated. You need to develop your pastoral identity. And while I actually agree with all of those things, because patients deserve excellent chaplains, families deserve excellent chaplains. Our hospice teams deserve excellent chaplains because excellence matters. But then I saw her residency posting for the hospital she works at, that she supervises, and the salary was about $38,000 a year. How dare we demand excellence while paying wages that makes excellence financially inaccessible? Who can actually afford to become a chaplain under those conditions? I'll tell you who. Someone with a spouse who can carry the household. Someone who has family support. Someone with savings. Someone who's retired and beginning a second career. Those are all forms of privilege. Meanwhile, think about the people we've unintentionally excluded. The single parent, the person who's supporting aging parents or their entire household. Or what about the graduate who's carrying 6 figures of student loan debt after an MDiv? The person who simply can't afford to cut their income in half to do a residency for a year. They may have the same calling, the same gifts, the same emotional intelligence, the same compassion, but they don't have the financial runway. And then we turn around and ask, why doesn't chaplaincy reflect the communities we often serve? People ask, why aren't there more Black chaplains, more Latino chaplains, more Asian chaplains, more Indigenous chaplains, more chaplains who grew up in poverty, more chaplains from working class backgrounds? Well, maybe part of the answer is that the pathway into this profession assumes a level of financial stability that many talented people simply don't have. That, my friend, is not a calling problem. That's an access problem. And what's fascinating is that when I tell chaplains who are in the field, they should be looking for jobs paying at least $70,000 and ideally 80 to 85, other chaplains look at me like I've lost my mind. And they say things like, who's making that? Think about how sad that is. We've become so accustomed to being undervalued that a livable wage sounds unrealistic. Now look, I'm not comparing chaplains to physicians, but I am asking why graduate-trained spiritual care professionals are expected to accept compensation that many adults can't realistically live on. Our work matters. Our education matters. Our clinical expertise matters. So therefore, our compensation should reflect that. A calling should inspire sacrifice. I get that. But it should never require financial hardship. And if we truly want excellence in our field, if we truly want chaplaincy to reflect the communities we serve, then we have to stop pretending that access and economics have nothing to do with who becomes a chaplain. Because calling may open the door, but privilege often determines who gets to walk through it. You know, as usual, like, share, put your cries of outrage in the comments. And if you're new around here, my name is Leslie. I'm creating the videos that I wish existed when I first started the road to chaplaincy. Like, share, comment, follow. And until next time, grace and peace.